In this video, parents and guardians will learn everything they need to know in order to best support their students when using Google Classroom. Google Classroom is a digital classroom platform where teachers post assignments, materials, announcements, and more. In this video, you'll learn how to optimize the settings of Google Classroom to best suit the needs of your family, how students can join classes, how students can look up what assignments they still need to complete, as well as what assignments they've already been graded. You'll also learn how to use the calendar function to support with time management. When signing into your child's Chromebook, you'll turn the Chromebook on, and they'll enter their username, which is lastname.firstname, graduation year at stateliners.org. So an example of that would be smith.john28 at stateliners.org. And then they would enter their password, which is their student ID number with PSD at the end. An example would be 123456 PSD. Before we take our tour of Google Classroom, I did want to inform all parents that they do not have all access to their students' Google Classroom, their work and things like that. However, parents have the unique option of being added as a student guardian. Be sure to ask your child's teacher to grant you access. You'll receive an email that requires you to accept the invitation. Once approved, you can choose between daily or weekly guardian summaries. Based on your preference, you'll get an email that details missing work, upcoming assignments, and classroom activity. What's included in an email summary? An email summary includes missing work, which is work not turned in when the summary was sent, upcoming work, work that's due today and tomorrow for daily emails, or that's due in the upcoming week for weekly emails, and class activity, like announcements, assignments, and questions recently posted by the teachers. Guardians who sign up for email summaries cannot see the stream, classwork, people, or the grades page in Classroom. Now it's time to talk Google Classroom. For students that have different teachers for different subjects, multiple classrooms will appear on their Google Classroom page. From their dashboard, they can choose the class that they want to view. Once they enter a classroom, students find 3 tabs at the top of the page. But how do we get to Google Classroom? There are 3 ways. At the bottom of the Chromebook taskbar, you'll find an icon for Google Classroom. You can type classroom.google.com, or you can use the Google Waffle, which is the way I'm going to show you now. So when you go onto Chrome from the Chromebook, it will open to your child's elementary school or primary school, whichever school they're in, that will be the homepage. So for the purpose of this video, I've opened it up to Phillipsburg Elementary. So at the top left-hand corner, there's a plus sign to add a new tab. When you click that new tab button, it opens you up to Google. If you look over at the right top of the screen, you'll see this little set of dots. This is called the Google Waffle. It's actually a nickname that stuck even with Google. So it's called Google Waffle kind of all the way through. When you click the Google Waffle, you'll be able to see all of the apps that your child has available through the district. So right now, we're going to click on Classroom, and it will open up to the Classroom dashboard. You may see 1 classroom, 2 classrooms. You may see no classrooms because teachers will invite you by either giving you a code or through email. If they decide to invite your child through your Stateliners email, the invitation will look like this. It will already appear here, and you'll have a join or a decline button. That means that they have been set up through email. That's normally with maybe a homeroom or classroom teacher. But if you have a specials area teacher or multiple teachers, they might give you a code. Now to access the Google Class from the code, you come up next to this Google Waffle, there's a plus sign. It says join class. You're going to click that plus sign, come to the class code box, enter your class code, and then up here, this join will turn blue, and you'll have the opportunity to click it and join the class. Once you do, you'll see that class appear on the dashboard. For purposes of this video, I'm going to use this test Google Classroom that I will join using the join button and walk us through. Once you open up the individual Google Classrooms, this is what you'll see. On the left-hand side, you'll see the name of the classroom. as well as we call this the hamburger, the 3 little lines. If you click that, it becomes a drop-down box. It can take you back to your class's dashboard where it shows all the classes you're involved in, a calendar, a to-do list, and some settings. The to-do list shows a missing tab and a done tab, and it shows things that are due this week, things that are still missing, and things that have been completed and that are finished. Back over here at the drop-down menu, the calendar gives you a view of all of the things that are due in a calendar view. So we're going to go back to classes into Google Test Classroom, and we're going to look at the 3 options along the top. But when students log in, they see upcoming homework assignments, teacher announcements, student questions, and other important class information. Students can submit their work directly through Google Classroom, and teachers can provide feedback, assign grades, and return the work. All of your child's work stays organized and conveniently stored on Google Drive. Assignments are even automatically added to the Google Calendar based on their due dates. So essentially, the Google Classroom is where all your child's schoolwork is created, exchanged, and stored. So up along the top, there are 3 tabs: Stream, Classwork, and People. The Stream tab can be compared to an interactive workbook. It's an outline of the course and an announcement page with a full overview of homework, assignments, and any other posts that the teacher adds. You can see that I added a little hello as an announcement to you today. The Classwork tab stores all your child's assignments. Here, they'll see each assignment that's been added by their teacher. When they click on a task, they'll get the due date, details, resources needed, and the status of the assignment. Students also can turn in their work here once it's completed. They can add files or create slideshows and images to be submitted. So I'm going to click on this math problem. It shows a general idea of what the problem is, and then it says View Assignment. If you click View Assignment, you'll see what the problem expectation is, and then you'll be able to add your work. In this instance, the teacher wants the student to complete number 4 on page 136 of the textbook, and then upload a picture of their work and turn it in. So once they have that picture of their work in their Google Drive, they'll click Add, Google Drive. They'll choose whatever it might be that they're going to add to the lesson, insert, and then click the Turn In button and confirm. Once it's turned in, it's submitted to the teacher. That means that it no longer belongs to the student, but rather to the teacher, so the student can't make changes. However, if the teacher comes back to the student and says, there are some edits you need to make, the student can come back over here and unsubmit. And by clicking unsubmit, it will give the property back over to them. So then they'll be able to make those changes. You can click up here at the top left to go back to the main page. And then we have the People tab. The People tab shows all the teachers and students in the classroom. It's also a place where students can communicate directly with one another and their teacher. So as you see here, I only have a teacher in here, and you can directly email the teacher from this link. So that's very handy if a student has questions about an assignment. Going back to the Classwork tab, I wanted to show you along the top that you can access your Google Meet, the Google Calendar to find out what you have due, as well as the Class Drive folder where all of your work will be stored. The other thing about the Classwork tab is that it may look different depending on the style of the teacher. This teacher used emojis before their topic. Some teachers might not use topics in the same way, but rather have their work by day or by week or by unit. Don't be surprised if when you go on the different Google Classrooms, you see something slightly different. It really depends on how the teacher is going to do it. Coming back here to the main page for the test classroom, I wanted to show you that right here on the left-hand side, it will show all upcoming work. And then here in the header, there's the Google Meet link. This will be the link that your child uses to access their live virtual teacher every single time. So this link may change depending on if the teacher recreates a new link or not, but this is always where it's found. Now that we've walked through Google Classroom together, I wanted to take you on a quick tour of Google Meet. But before I show you the actual layout of the buttons, I wanted to talk about Google Meet etiquette because it is just as important as showing up. So the first thing that we want to make sure that everyone is aware of, that we would like the students to mute themselves when they join the Meet. That's because we want to make sure that the teachers are able to give clear instructions and that everyone can hear them. So even if your child is sitting quietly listening to the teacher, there may be sounds either in your home or even outside in your neighborhood that are going to be picked up by the microphone, and it's going to be a distraction and people won't be able to hear what they're supposed to listen to. Secondly, please be on time. It's a good practice to start setting up your Meet, joining your Meet about 5 minutes in advance. That way, if you have anything that holds you back, whether it be an internet issue or connectivity issue, you have a few minutes to work that out before the student is expected to be on task. Turn on the video. It is an expectation of the district that the video be on for the students during these Google Meets. And the reason behind that is it's our way as teachers to connect with the students before we get to meet them in real life in person. And so by being able to see that they're on task and see their faces, it's just a connection that we won't have without a video. Come prepared. And that means a few things. Make sure that the student has all the materials that are expected for that particular Google Meet. The dress code, be sure that the student is wearing something that would be acceptable to be worn in school. And also no food. It's just another distraction and we really want to focus on the learning. So let's keep snacks and lunch separate from the Google Meet times. Next up, find a quiet place. It will just help the students to be able to pay attention and to really focus on their tasks. And last but not least, let's have some fun. I know this is tough and I know this is strange, but you would be amazed what students as young as preschool and as old as high school can do if they put their mind to it. And I really believe that we can make this the best experience possible with what we have now. So let's not forget to stop and have fun. It doesn't have to be all pressure. It can definitely be smiles as well. So let me just take you on a quick tour of Google Meet. This is just going to be a quick walkthrough of the Google Meet screen. Now, as you can see, it's just my dog Remy because I'm the only one on this Google Meet right now. But if it were more than one, you'd be able to see the students' faces or their icons as they join the Meet. But I just wanted to let you know that the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that the video is on. Now, this camera is off right now for purposes of this tutorial, but you want to make sure that the camera is on for your child when it's time for them to meet live virtual with their teachers. It is one of the requirements. It's one of the expectations within the district because it's really going to help us make a connection before we can be there in person together so they can see each other's faces. But you are going to want to have the microphone muted. It's always just practice that you turn the microphone off right away so that way the teacher can be heard. There's not a lot of background noise. Even if your child is sitting quietly in front of the computer, it really picks up all of those surrounding sounds of things that are happening in your home. So you just want to make sure that that microphone is turned off and the camera is turned on. When it's time to leave the chat, or when it's time to leave the Google Meet, you press this phone button and it will allow you to leave the call. It may ask you twice, like to confirm it, but that's what you would do. Here's the volume to turn on or off the speaker. And then up here in the right-hand corner is when you can chat. Now, this is going to be at the discretion of the teacher, but sometimes they'll want you to use that to ask questions, and other times they'll have that turned off. However, I did just want you to know that it does exist and it's there. You did it. You made it through the entire video. Now you know more about Google Classroom and Google Meet. So thank you so much. Together, we can have a great year. For questions or technical issues regarding your child's Chromebook, please contact tech support@pberg.net.